Every single movie or show that you watched is based entirely around people encountering and then overcoming problems, whether that's them fighting aliens or monsters or trying to solve some sort of case or some romantic comedy where two people meet under unlikely circumstances and they fall for each other, but some other much more unlikely thing happens and they have to overcome that to prove that they love each other and then run and meet each other in the airport at the last second for some weird ass romantic scene, or people trying to escape from some undead serial killer or zombie hordes or whatever the fucking case may be. All of it is problems. If you were to remove that element from any of those things that you watch, you would lose interest in it because there's no fucking point. Nobody wants to watch a movie about two people just sitting down having a lovely conversation over a meal that they enjoy, where they get great service and it's reasonably priced and they enjoy everything about it and they agree on everything, and that just goes on for a fucking hour and a half and then it's the end. That would be boring as shit and you would have zero interest in it because it's not fucking interesting. Every single book that you read, whether it's some sci-fi novel or what's another category of book, crime drama, I guess, or a romantic fantasy romance, whatever the fuck it is you call those novels, is again about the same thing. People encountering and solving problems. Every single video game that you play is exactly the same. Nobody would sit down and play a video game where there is no problem to solve and nothing to overcome. Again, that could be slaying monsters, it could be farming shit in that whatever little fucking game is where you play the farm. Even fucking Tetris is you have to solve the problem of how to fit the blocks in the shapes, in the spaces that you have. There would be no point to a game where you just walk around and your life is good, or you just design cars and then drive the cars, but you're not racing against other cars. It's just easy thing to drive and no one is trying to stop you and there's no end goal. Without problems, all of these things lose their point. Even sports is people trying to overcome the problem of beating the other team. Game shows are people trying to overcome whatever the fuck questions it is that they have to answer, or fill in the letters on Wheel of Fortune if that's still a thing, or ask questions that they have answers to on Jeopardy or whatever their fucking weird setup is. All of it is some degree of problem solving because nothing is interesting without problems. You wouldn't be entertained by a complete absence of problems. But for some reason, when it comes to your own life, that is exactly what it is that you want. An absence of problems. You want to wake up when you feel like it, when you're well rested and you get out of bed, when you're ready to get out of bed, and then eat the things that you enjoy without having to exert yourself to cook it or worry about how it is that you're going to afford it. You want to hang out with your friends and all of you get along all of the time and agree on the same shit. And you turn on the TV and you watch the news and you want to see all the good stories in the world, and your fucking political candidate won and your rent's due, and it's not something that you think is too expensive as you can easily afford it, plus take all the vacations that you want and have the car that you want and not have to really worry about figuring any of these things out. You want to have a perfect relationship with a perfect partner who you never fight with and any of that shit. People want their lives to be full of ease and free of problems, not realizing that again, going back to the entertainment, they don't find any entertainment in anything that is lacking problems. That exact same thing will apply to your life. When you have no problems in life, you also have no purpose. A life free of struggles is a life free of point. There would be absolutely no reason to go about doing anything. And everything that is too easy for too long will eventually lose its luster. Sure, it's fun whenever it first starts out. I remember back in the day, it was PlayStation 2, it was a game, it was Grand Theft Auto, it was San Andreas, I believe it was called. And it was a cheat code that you could put in where you could get invincibility and infinite ammo and all of the guns and shit like that. And so you could run around shooting up every fucking body and stealing all the cars and whatever and not have to worry about running out of bullets or dying. And that was fun for a very brief period of time. But after a while, there's no point to it. Part of what was fun about the game, whatever you just go around causing random mayhem, is trying to stay alive and trying to not get captured by the police and the tanks and the armies when they come and all of that shit, is trying to not run out of ammo in the middle of a shootout or some shit like that. Part of the fun, the entirety of the fun of it was the challenge of it, because it felt like you were beating something and surviving something. But when you remove all of that, there is absolutely no point to anything. If you just had everything that you wanted, you wouldn't appreciate anything that you have, and you wouldn't even continue to want it. Everything loses its luster after a certain degree of exposure. You don't infinitely get the exact same stimuli from the same exact input. So while something might be enjoyable for a while, on a long enough timeline, you will lose that level of enjoyment in it, and it will start to seem pointless. And again, when you have a life that's completely free of problems and devoid of struggles and devoid of issues, because people naturally want to have things to overcome, because what the fuck else would be the point? People naturally want to have something to struggle against so they can have something to beat, so they can have something to win. You start to fill in that void with a bunch of nonsensical shit, because you have nothing that you're working towards, therefore nothing that you're going up against. So you look for something, and that's when people come up with stupid shit like, oh, on my 12th birthday, I didn't get the gifts that I wanted. That's sad and unfortunate, therefore I have trauma, and now I need to figure out how it is to overcome this. Or, I don't feel happy all of the time. Sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm down. Therefore, I'm depressed. This is a problem. So when you don't have real problems, you start to create stupid problems out of nonsensical shit like sadness and memories of the past, out of worrying about what it is that you're going to do tomorrow, out of not being able to stop eating food, or you go do drugs to try and fuel some shit because you don't know what the fuck else it is to do. And all of those issues, most of them anyway, stem from the fact that your life is way too fucking easy, and when it is way too easy, it's completely fucking pointless. There's no reason to do anything if you're not working towards something. There's no reason to be doing anything if you're not trying to beat something. That is what makes anything worthwhile. There is a reason that people are interested in the life stories of people who used to be poor and then made a bunch of money, but nobody gives a shit about the life story of someone who won the lottery. But everyone mistakes the fact that the end goal, both of those people have a bunch of money, but the reason that people care about one is because they worked and struggled and had to overcome for it. The reason no one cares about the other is because they just fucking have it. And having the thing isn't the point. That's not the purpose of the thing. The thing is a byproduct, but people don't understand that. This is why they don't disrespect the journey, or excuse me, they don't respect the journey, because they don't want to go along the journey, because the journey is difficult, not understanding that the point of the journey is the difficulty. It's the difficulty that makes something worthwhile. It's the adversity that you go through that makes something rewarding. It's the challenge that you have to overcome that makes something matter. People only care when people are in shape because it's difficult to get in shape. You have to go through something to accomplish that. You can't just snap your fingers or wish yourself or even stumble upon the body that you want without exerting yourself in some capacity and having some degree of restrictions in your diet. You can't when you see somebody in a Phantom or a Lamborghini, you turn and look at it regardless of how you feel about the car, because deep down you know that this person had to go through some sort of struggles and overcome some sort of shit in order to get that car. But you don't care when you see someone drive by in a Honda Civic or a Toyota Camry, because everybody fucking has those, and anyone for the most part can pretty much fucking get them. It's not the same degree of accomplishment because it didn't take the same degree of struggle to get. All of the struggles and the hardships that you try to avoid is robbing your life of purpose. And without purpose, your life has absolutely no point. And that is what happens when you are so afraid to leave your comfort zone and ever become uncomfortable. As a whole, you wind up being uncomfortable, because being comfortable for too long does lead to you being uncomfortable. It's where the complacency shit comes in. If you just sit in one place for ever, it's cool for a little bit, but eventually you will get tired of it. But for some reason, that's still what people strive to do. They just want everything to be good and amazing. You shouldn't be seeking out ease and comfort. You should be seeking out difficulty and adversity so that you have something to overcome, so that you have some sort of purpose, so that you have something to work towards. Without it, your life is fucking meaningless.